Smith.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think climate change in Nebraska is yesterday's weather compared to today's. How about that? Sometimes that varies from 1 hour to the next in Nebraska, but I'm glad to see Nebraskans out here engaged because they're raising the level of debate. That is the biggest difference, I think, from the last election cycle to this one. And by the way, I'm from Gearing, I'm not from Washington, D.C., but I appreciate sometimes I have to spend time in Washington as a means of doing the job. But I want to tell you that I'm proud of my country. I'm concerned about its direction. But I know that, as others have said, that anything that might be wrong with our country right now can be resolved with what's right about our country. And as long as we focus on freedom and opportunity, rather than really getting caught up in the outcome that a bill might seek to accomplish, the healthcare bill, if we want to focus more on individuals having the opportunity to access healthcare, we can do that. But a personal mandate to purchase a product in the so-called private sector, that product that President Obama wants to fashion and then force you to buy, that's a problem. That limits opportunity, that limits freedom, and that's what I think causes us to have a debate about what the Constitution means, what it's meant in the past, what it means this very day, and most importantly, what it means for the future. So we can focus on that. You know, what's interesting is we've heard some people say that the health care bill came about because of the constitutional mandate to provide health care. I didn't find that wording in the Constitution. What's interesting is that food and shelter, I don't hear the constitutional mandate to provide food and shelter, and yet I think the argument could be made that food and shelter is even more basic and fundamental than treatment for health care. But I think that when we focus on the issues, when we focus on the lessons of history, of how we provide more freedom and opportunity to individuals who may wish to come together and exercise that free association, we can be better off for that. So we can have a good debate. You know, my grandfather was a staunch Democrat. He's most responsible for my political involvement. So I tell people that if they like the way I vote, they can thank a Democrat. If they don't like the way I vote, they can blame a Democrat. He's been gone a few years, but boy, I would love to hear his perspective today. And in many respects, I can think of what he might have to say. He was a World War II Navy Seabee who shared his stories with me. If there's one thing I want to ask a veteran for, I know you've given a lot already, but I want to raise your hand if you're a veteran, by the way. Wow. I say thank you first and foremost, but I also want to say please share your story. As we face the difficult issues of our economy and the threats to freedom and opportunity, we cannot look beyond or look past the service of our veterans. But if you share your story, you will give a greater appreciation for many generations to come of what has taken place in protecting this high maintenance thing called freedom and liberty. And we know that it's high maintenance because we've seen ultimate sacrifices of so many of our men and women in uniform. And sometimes we take it for granted. I refer to my generation, I'm 39 years old. I refer to my generation as a microwave generation. When we were little, we saw this new machine called the microwave, and yeah, it could crank out some hot food pretty quickly, but the quality wasn't always so great. So anything that's worth doing is going to take some work. And so I'm glad that there are folks working to maintain the freedom and opportunity that we know is so important for prosperity. Prosperity is a good thing. This thing called taxation should be a mere byproduct of prosperity, not a priority. Sometimes I wonder if there's any appreciation of prosperity in Washington. Someone stopped me on the street the other day. They said, you know, Adrian, if the president wants to spread the wealth, there needs to be wealth to spread. And that's very true. Jack Kemp said you cannot love jobs and hate those who create jobs. Very true. So I'm out there to work with you to make sure that we've got opportunity for tomorrow. So I say thank you to all the organizers, Jeremy and others who have made this happen today. It's a great time to be an American, let me tell you. So let me just wrap this up. I don't, you know, it's against the rules to filibuster in the House anyway. Let me just say that as we face the challenges that we know we can overcome, but let's face those head on. Let me just finish by quoting a famous Nebraskan and say, get her done. Go Huskers.